What's up, everyone? It's Chris here from Two Button Brass. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain to reveal my process for arranging pop songs for your ensemble. I'm going to show you how to take a song and arrange it for brass quintet, but really, these strategies can be applied universally. Woodwind quintets, string quartets, even marching band, you name it. You can do any kind of arranging for whatever ensemble you have. The song we're looking at today is called Favorite Crime by Olivia Rodrigo from her album Sour. We actually had a two-button fan, Ryan, reach out and submit his own brass quintet's arrangement, so we're going to dive into his arrangement and discuss some of his musical choices. After that, we'll listen to a two-button brass version of the same song arranged by yours truly. I'm really looking forward to sharing my process with all of you, so if you like this kind of content, let us know by hitting that like button. If you have some different ideas about arranging, just let us know in the comments. There's limitless ways to arrange and everyone does it differently, so I'd love to hear about it. That's all I got, so let's get on with the show. I've kind of taken my whole strategy, my whole approach to arranging tunes for my brass quintet, and I've narrowed it down to about 4 rules that I keep in mind whenever arranging anything. The first rule is pick a song that you really dig. It's a song you're going to be listening to hours and hours on end, so it might as well be something that you like to listen to, because by the end you might not like it anymore. 2, the song has to work as an instrumental. And what I mean by this is some songs have rap verses, some songs are a little bit more rhythmically driven, so it's really got to work for instrumental groups. Now that said, you can do a rap song that has a cool kind of verse or a cool horn line in it already, and if you have someone in your group that's really good at spitting some verses, then yeah, go ahead, utilize that to the full extent. For example, with a brass band here, we did Touch the Sky by Kanye West, and there's the cool kind of I
gotta testify, come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day I die, I'ma touch the sky.
And then when the verse came along, we had somebody come in and spit some verses. They did the Kanye West, and then they did the Lupe Fiasco, and it was really successful. So it can definitely work, but just be cognizant of that. 4, every part that you write should be a part that you want to play. So once you're done arranging, or even throughout your process of arranging, kind of keep tabs of each of the parts. Is the tuba part really boring? Is it just long tones? That's not fun for anybody, really. Even tuba players, they get bored. So go ahead and take a look at every part. Make sure that you're kind of tossing around the melody. I like to write for the players that are in my group, so I know everyone's playing styles really well, because I've been playing with these guys for years. And so I know, Alex on trombone, he's got a really great high range, so I like to throw him a bone. Pun intended. I like to throw him a bone with a nice high trombone solo, and I think that he sounds really good on that. So I like to include things like that. I give the tuba solo. Something I also look for in any arrangement that's put on my stand is there any rest? Trumpet players get tired, and our little lippies, they get fatigued very easily, so a little bit of rest built into the part is a must, especially if you're doing something live. First up, let's take a listen to Ryan's arrangement of Favorite Crime. All right, so now that we've heard Ryan's arrangement, let's go ahead and discuss some of the things that we heard. So in order to keep this video from going on to 30, 45 minutes, I'm going to keep it to 2 ups, 2 downs. So 2 positive, 2 constructive criticisms, if you will. And so let's go ahead and start with the positives, because it's good to focus on some of the good things and build upon those successes. So first up, I thought in this arrangement, Ryan did an excellent job of staying true to form. Form is king, especially with anything pop related, because even people who are untrained musicians will know if you skip a section in the music. 2, something I really enjoyed about this arrangement particularly is that Ryan gave a lot of information to us, the performers. We had dynamics, we had articulation markings, we had slurs written in the parts. On to 2 of the constructive things that I could come up with for this arrangement. First of all, the way the original song is written, it's written for solo voice and guitar accompaniment, right? And then there's some multi-track kind of voices in the background too. But we're going to kind of just focus on those first 2 elements, for which is voice and guitar accompaniment. So the voice, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? The voice part is the melody throughout the whole thing, and Ryan does a good job of like chucking it over to the second trumpet. The first trumpet will kind of like split some of the verse, and then, you know, the French horn gets the kind of like breakout solo in the middle section there before it goes back into one more time on the chorus. I think I might be using the wrong terminology, but I enjoyed how Ryan gave the solo to different voices at different times. The most interesting part of any arrangement is not necessarily the melody, as you might think. It's actually in the counterpoint or in the accompanying voices, right? So we have the solo guitar kind of arpeggiating stuff, ba-ba-doo-ba, ba-doo-ba, and there's kind of like this rhythm going on. That kind of gets the rhythmic motor going throughout the whole song. And so what Ryan did is he split up that rhythmic motor, or rhythmic ostinato, throughout the whole thing, and he splits it among 3 players at a time, potentially. I think up to 4 in some moments. I try to keep any kind of rhythmic motor in one part so that they can keep track of it, and then I'll give it to the tuba, and then I'll give it to the trombone. And give somebody a rest, because like it gets very fatiguing if you're just like for 4 minutes straight or however long a song is, just doing ba-ba-doo-ba, ba-doo-ba, ba-doo-ba, and your brain just starts to like spin in circles, and the monkey starts to clap the cymbals, and it's all very confusing. You know, Ryan was good about staying true to the original, right? He basically arranged the original song, and I basically was like, okay, we're gonna go completely different. We went like Will Smith on Aladdin. He's not even gonna do the Robin Williams thing. He's gonna do something completely different. That's what I did. I was like, I'm gonna come up with a good like rhythmic ostinato, which was da 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 da, something like that. It's just kind of like a little rhythmic part that's a lot easier and like smaller of a chunk to do. And I had everyone who had that was doing that whole figure. It wasn't a composite of like 3 different parts over one. All right, so my second constructive feedback for this arrangement would be in relation to those 2 lower voices, right? Your power duo, your trombone and your tuba. Ryan could definitely utilize those a lot more. Like if you're, especially with brass instruments, like if you're just using the tuba as like a bass pedal, that can be effective occasionally, but I think what's even more effective, especially with this song, because it does have that kind of rhythmic backbone throughout the whole thing, rhythmic ostinato, there's always a rhythm going on, is to utilize those parts with really interesting syncopated rhythms. Boom, boom, boom. You know, things like that are kind of come on the offbeats. And you'll see in my arrangement too what I did with the tuba part especially. All right, so all that said, I think Ryan did an excellent job. And this is, I think he said his first arrangement ever. So, I mean, kudos to you for, you know, allowing us to put it on display. Keep arranging. That's the way that you get better, is just by doing more and more of it. And you start to crave it eventually if you're like me. And I hope you do discover that passion. So let's go into my arrangement, which I'll kind of give you a little preface about it before we listen to it and wrap things up for today. My arrangement, I decided to go different than the original. So I kept the form intact, and I also stuck to the original key too. I noticed that Ryan modulated it, or he transposed it up a half step, key B flat, so that it was a little bit more brass friendly. So in my arrangement, I took like a rhythmic feel, and this is what I'll do for a lot of things. I did this, for example, in our Christmas show that we did last year. We took a lot of like kind of standard like carols and hymns and things like that for the holidays, and we kind of reimagined them in different styles. And so what I would do with each of those arrangements, because everyone knows the melody, but people want to hear the melody with, you know, different style or like an interesting accompaniment part. What I would do is I would find a bass line first. So boom, boom, ba do ba bum, bo ba do ba became my rhythmic backbone that I introduced in the tuba first, and then I have a secondary kind of like guitar rhythm part that's kind of like do da do da 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 do da da da. What I really tried to be aware of is texture, right? So like you get that certain texture going on, and then when it changes section, you change that texture. Maybe you go, you know, into the lower voices, having like the interesting parts. Maybe with like the trumpet 1, trumpet 2, French horn voices are holding a chord, and then the trombone and tuba are doing something interesting. You'll kind of see this too. So we're gonna put that up on the screen. Give it a listen. It's by no means gospel, right? There's a million ways that you could arrange the song. So this is my take on Favorite Crime. And there you have it, 2 different musicians with 2 different versions of the same song. Ryan stayed truer to the original, and I took some creative liberties. At the end of the day, both arrangements have their place and are probably better suited for the players they are written for. Ryan, thank you for having the courage to approach us with your arrangement. I hope you and our viewers found this video entertaining and somewhat educational. I'm constantly adapting and changing my process, and I'm just one of the arrangers for our group. Skib has some mad arranging chops, so I'd like to get him in on the next video. Speaking of which, if you like this kind of video, please let us know down in the comments. That is how we decide which content to produce next. So, as always, like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss another one, and I'll see you guys next time.